Hey, folks, welcome to the first ever episode of Backyard Prepiversity, where we will be taking you through how to turn your less than 1 acre backyard, or bigger if you have one, into a food producing survival honey hole, kind of. We're going to be talking about aquaponics. We're going to be talking about hydroponics. We're going to talk about chickens and goats and how to make these things work. We're going to talk about how to keep your yard pest free, because that was a question that was asked of me this week already. We haven't even started the show and we're already getting requests, which is good. I am Jason Hyatt, and you're on CTW TV Media Group's, broadcast. And this is Backyard Prepiversity. So this week, I just kind of wanted to get everybody used to seeing my ugly mug and hearing my voice and seeing what we have in store. I bought a greenhouse. It's a big aluminum 6-foot by 10-foot greenhouse. I bought some pond liners, and we're going to build on the show a full-on aquaponic setup in my backyard. You're going to learn from my mistakes because I've never done it before. Done a lot of research, so we'll see how it goes. But we are going to see how it all goes. And learn from each other, because that's the only way we can do this. But first and foremost, I'll kick the show off with a little research project that I've started just for this show, where I went out and I got this thing. It's supposed to start 50 seedlings, even though it says put 2 or 3 seeds per bunch. This is 50. So if I put 3 in there, that's 150. If I put 2 in there, it's 100. I guess they're expecting a, 1/3 survival rate. But we're going to start 50 in there, which I already have. I started 50 in one of them. And it kind of looks like this right here. So we've got cucumbers, cauliflower, broccoli, give me a second, giant Sioux tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and assorted colors of bell peppers. And this one. And then we will be going in the other 50 slots, an assortment of squish, some green beans, some sugar snap peas, some zucchinis, radishes, lettuce and carrots, and a few other things. I think we've got jalapeno seeds and some habanero seeds and some other stuff. But some of this will be transplanted from these little mini greenhouses into a mound garden. Some of them will be transplanted into our aquaponic setup once we get it going. So, back to the research project. We're going to start 100 seeds in the good old-fashioned egg crates, 18 packs. And we're going to plant 100 seeds just into the ground and see which one's producing more, if they're growing faster, which ones do better in this environment, which ones do better just being hand planted in the ground. Obviously, I'm only going to plant tubers in the ground because it makes sense. But all of this is going to be watered by our rain catchment system that we're going to build in the backyard. And I hope to get the experts from a local aquaponics shop to come in here and help us set this up and figure it out properly, because it's never good to kill your fish or your plants, or your fish and plants at the same time. But we have some special things coming up on this show, be it fixing Betty Lou, the 1968 Ford tractor, turning the old goat house into a chicken coop, because I no longer have goats. We had them last year, had them during the summer, and 2 of them passed away due to parasites, and the 2 surviving ones I gave to a buddy of mine that raises goats all the time, because obviously he's better at it than I am. I didn't know what to look for. But he'll be coming on the show to talk to us about raising goats in your backyard. He's obviously got a lot more acreage than one, because he has multiple goats. And he'll probably be swinging by to talk to me about chickens at some point too, because, well, he's got chickens and ducks for some odd reason. But that is the premise of the show. How to survive in your backyard. And yes, this was originally thought about long before the Ukraine debacle, and long before, you couldn't go to the store and buy your groceries. I have been hunting my own food for my family for at least the last 5 years, where we haven't bought meat unless we absolutely had to, like we ran out of deer and we ran out of hog. So we'll go into butchery skills and preparing meats and other harvested animals when hunting season comes around, even though we're in Georgia. We can hunt pigs year round. So we might just go hunt pig hunting one day and bring one home, and we'll go over it then. But that is using your backyard to prep, because all of that is done in your backyard. Whether your neighbors like it or not, it's your land. You survive off of it. So I had a question from somebody down in Florida who has multiple dogs, and they're out there in the sticks, and they're having a flea problem. I don't have flea problems. There's a number of reasons why we don't have flea problems in our backyard. It isn't because we don't have dogs, because I have 4 of them. I got a Great Dane and 3 Dutch Shepherds back there and in the house. So obviously we have dogs. Also, a backyard back behind my back fence is nothing but trees. So we have the random squirrels and the stray cats. We should have fleas. But 3 times a year, and I know this sounds odd because it's chemicals, I use the off-yard spray. Hook it up to your water hose. You spray everything in your yard, let it soak, and it kills fleas and ticks and ants and gnats and just about everything else that'll annoy you in your backyard. But also treat my dogs for fleas and ticks. So I don't like them sleeping in the bed with me. But there is some natural ways to do this. And I'm going to tell you right now, chickens are your best friend when getting rid of fleas, ticks, mites, aphids, just about anything creepy crawly in your yard, a chicken will eat. So, barring having miniature raptors, mini velociraptors in your backyard running around eating every creepy crawly thing back there, the interwebs have told me that if you clear your yard, meaning no rocks, no leaves, no brush piles, no high grass, no storage of wood. So basically, if you're not prepping, if you're not preparing yourself for tomorrow, clear your yard of everything else. So there's nothing for fleas to hide under. They like moisture, which is why reason number 2 is going to sound funny. It says flood your yard. It's another reason why I don't have fleas or ticks, because my yard floods. every time it rains. I'll have 2 or 3 feet of water in the middle of my backyard every time it rains. Fleas cannot breathe underwater. Flea eggs do not survive in water, large amounts of water. So that's why it says flood your yard. So you clear your yard and you take your water hose and you flood everywhere you think a flea might be hiding. Okay. Then it says, go buy diatomaceous earth. I don't know about y'all, but that stuff's expensive. I'm not going to do it. It's expensive. Then it says you can use nematodes, which nematodes are kind of cool. It says toads. You think they're little frog things. No. They're little worms that microscopic worms that feed on the fleas and flea or larvae and just about everything else that's living in your yard, but it's good for your yard. So I would do that anyway. Because they eat termites, and termites are horrible down in Georgia. And the one thing I absolutely hate, you'll never see them in my yard. I can't stand them. My parents use them. I still hate them. Cedar chips. Fleas, like other parasitic animals, don't like cedar. So spread cedar chips all through your yard. You won't have fleas. I still say the best way is treating your yard. Treat your dogs and your cats. Kill the fleas. Wash them in Joy or Dawn liquid detergent. Clean all that stuff off of them. And make sure they don't come back. So that's where we're at with fleas and ticks. Because, or you can go catch a bunch of armadillos. Not armadillos, possums. Possums will eat fleas and ticks and creepy crawlies. But remember, some creepy crawlies are good, so don't get rid of them. But still, we're going to get into some other stuff in your backyard. But we're going to take a break right quick. So give me a second. Sorry, didn't want to have a coughing fit on screen here. So backyard Prepiversity is basically just how to live. That's what we're going to do here. If anybody's got questions, comments, topics that want to be covered, want to know how to get a hold of us, we got our YouTube channel, which is floating around the bottom of the screen there. And we have our Facebook page. You just type in @BackyardPrep on Facebook. It'll take you straight to our Facebook page. Also, you can email us at gunsvetsurvival@gmail.com. That's pretty much how you get a hold of us. Anything you want to know, we're open books. Yeah. I had a topic. It's in my head. I wrote it down. I got to find it in 2 seconds. So with doing all of this, I figured out some things about my backyard, which you're going to learn when you start seeing it starting next week, when I start taking pictures and video and everybody gets to see it. Is my yard is nothing but red dirt clay. Georgia red clay. That's it. It's hard to dig through. It's hard to cut through. It's hard to grow in. It is painful. But we are going to be also adding a mini orchard in our backyard. If anybody's interested in that, I would say stay tuned. I'm trying not to do this fast and furious, but at the same time, it is just about that prime time for putting things in the ground here in Georgia. So having to start the seeds, having to get the greenhouse up, having to get the aquaponics figured out, having to get the hydroponics figured out, because not everything is going to be watered with fish poop. Most of it will be. Some of it will just be rain catchment systems coming off the top of my shop in the house, going into one pond that obviously has to have fish in it in the state of Georgia, because if you don't, you got nothing but mosquitoes. But the main purpose for that one would probably not be fish to eat, because that water coming off the top of my shop or the top of the house isn't going to be the cleanest water on the planet. I'm going to try to figure out some things with that where it goes through a filtering system, and then maybe I can use it to fill the pond full of water to pump out to the trees. But it won't be a true aquaponic system. It won't be recirculated water. Just like the mound gardening system. So if anybody's ever seen a mound garden system, you can't recycle the water you put into it, but you use very little water to maintain it. It's great for an arid area. It's great for high water areas, but it's allows you to grow a lot of different produce in a small area, because it's kind of informal. You're not doing rows. You're not taking your tractor and cutting rows straight and down and straight down and straight down. You're taking limbs. You trim your trees, you put them in a pile. You cut your grass, you put it in the same pile. As long as you don't have any chemicals in it. Don't put no chemicals in it. Your neighbor cuts their trees up a little bit, rakes their leaves, you put them in a pile. You pick your piles, make your rows and piles, or pile rows, however much room you got. And then you leave a good, decent walkway, get a tractor down it, get a lawnmower down it, down the center, or down, and then you start another one, and you start another one. I'm doing 3 rows. They're going to be roughly 30 feet long. So once you get your pile of refuge, your tree limbs and grass and seed or leaves and all that stuff piled up, you cover it with soil. Just completely cover it. Cover it in soil. And then you cover it in hay and straw along the top. And then you just go in and pop your seeds in. Take out a plug of dirt, pop your seeds in, or pop your plants in, cover it back up, and be good to go. Now, all that wonderful, wood and leaves and grass and stuff you put in the bottom, it breaks down. It becomes nitrogen-rich fertilizer for you. Throw in some earthworms and help it go faster. But it also keeps the moisture locked in under the root system, not in your root system, so you're not getting root rot. So you can water it once a week instead of 3 days a week. It allows your roots to get longer, so if you're going to grow carrots like this, your carrots are going to be longer. Not saying that I'm going to grow carrots like this. I'm going to try carrots, I'm going to try radishes, I'm going to try potatoes in the mound, but I'm also going to do a traditional small garden area in the ground in rows for carrots, radishes, potatoes, our roots, our tubers that we want to have. And everything in our growing area that isn't in the aquaponics greenhouse or hydroponics greenhouse is going to be fertilized, maintained, and depested by our miniature raptors called chickens. So that is the future plan for the backyard. First, we got to convert the old goat house into a chicken coop, which requires a door and a screen and some nesting boxes. It's really not hard to do. We built that thing last year. It's still standing. It does great. It looks great. So, hey, why not? Then I have to pile up all the brush and stuff, and then I have to get soil. But I'm going to be digging a bunch of soil because I have 3 ponds to dig. I have the pond. I have 2 ponds going in the floor of our greenhouse. They're going to be roughly 3 feet deep, 4 foot long, 2 foot wide. Not big, but once you get past 18 inches in the state of Georgia, the temperature in the soil drops, so it'll keep my fish nice and cool. Because the plan is one side going to have prawns. The other side is going to have crayfish. And then the main catchment system that's going to feed those for overflow and water other parts of gardens and other trees up by the house is going to be about a 300-gallon pond that we're going to dig in. And it's going to house, hopefully, rainbow trout. But I've got to figure out how to keep the water temperatures cool enough to where rainbow trout will thrive. And that's going to be the fun one. So if I end up doing the 4th pond, that's going to be on the other side of the yard to water the trees. I don't know what I'll raise in that one. It might just be goldfish for now because I just needed to eat the mosquitoes. But I had a picture all ready to go, and for some reason it didn't load the proper way. So that's where we're at. It's going to be a long, wonderful experience for everybody. Well, me anyway. Hopefully everybody else can enjoy what we're doing here and want to come on and talk about what their experiences with backyard prepping is like. What you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. My goal, honestly, is to produce enough food in my yard and in the woods that I go hunting in every year to not have to go to the grocery store and buy produce. Obviously, I have to buy staples, noodles, rice, stuff like that. But with the cost of beef, I'd rather eat deer meat. No, I'd rather eat deer meat anyway, but I don't buy it. I just don't. We hunt pigs, we hunt deer. Turkeys have showed up on our hunting property, so this year, come next few weeks, I'm gonna go shoot me a turkey or 2. And we have a squirrel season, a rabbit season. And I got tons of rabbits run through the yard, so we should be good on meat. And then once we get our chickens transferred over here from my buddy's house, once I get the chicken coop set up, we'll have eggs. And but I'm not putting a dairy cow in my backyard. I like cows, but I'm not putting one in my backyard. And I do not like goat milk. It tastes funny to me. So we'll have to go to the store and buy milk. We'll have to go to the store and buy cheese. We'll have to go to the store and buy soap and stuff like that. But our plan is to not have to go to the store and buy fruits and vegetables and meat of any type, unless we want some special sandwich meat. I know how to make bread. I can make most things, so it should be rocking and rolling. And these are our battle plans. If anybody wants to say something, just go and post a comment on any platform that you're watching. I'll see it. We'll see it. I'll be able to answer your questions. We don't have our live call-in numbers yet for any of this setup. Eventually, hopefully, we'll get there. But we are not there yet. Let's see. So everybody knows it's over there. Up there is one of our logos. And we have that one. It says on there, "Your land, your survival." That is our slogan for the show. I don't expect people to go and, try to survive on somebody else's land. But this is covering pretty much everything that we're trying to do. Because I'm by no means an expert when it comes to how to grow anything. All I can do is do it, make the mistakes, and show you guys what I'm doing. And get some experts in to help me do it, because obviously experts are the way to go. And we can go from there. Oh, of any animal, livestock that you own for backyard prepping, what is your favorite? I loved my goats. I hated my goats. Goats are the loudest, most annoying critters on the planet sometimes. We had Nubians and a Saanen Nubian Alpine cross, all dairy goats, because I won't eat goat meat. If you have just one, like my buddy dropped off our male Nugget one evening, and that first night was like having a brand new baby. It sat out there in the goat pen and did nothing but scream and scream and scream, to the point that my wife and I both went out there and stayed with the goat all night to keep it from screaming. So the next day, my buddy brought us a doe to hang out with the young buckling. And there was no more screaming because they are very social animals. They want to be loved on. They want to be in a group, in a herd, and they want to take care of you. I mean, actually, they want to be taken care of. But goats are undoubtedly not as easy to raise as what people have been telling me. They do get sick. They don't eat everything. And when they get parasites, it's pretty bad. I went and bought, so I had my buckling Nugget and the goat that I was borrowing to keep him company, Delilah, hanging out. And this lady locally said, "Hey, I got some Nubians for sale." So me and my buddy loaded up in his truck, and we went to go buy a Nubian doe. Well, she had multiple Nubian does for sale. So to replace the goat that he gave me, Nugget, because he needed more females, I bought him a baby female, about the same age as what he was needing. And I bought an older doe. She's probably about 2 years old. We named her Yasmin from the Brats because she was a spoiled little booger. And unbeknownst to us, both of those young doelings had parasites. And those parasites spread very quickly. It was horrible. There was no signs, no symptoms until it was too late. And I'd actually gone and got a Saanen Alpine Nubian cross and her twin brother, who was a wither, from a local goat farmer. So I had 4 goats in the backyard. One that was only good for eating grass. He would never amount to anything. And then 2 females and my breeding buck. So 3 I wanted to keep, and one that was basically a lawnmower, which was good. We needed the grass cut. But we went to go to Wyoming during the summer, and my buddy Dean happily came over and picked up 4 goats and took them to his farm. And that's when the parasite issues manifested. And it wiped out Nugget and Yasmin, and it killed quite a few of his own goats. And it was kind of devastating. So I gave him Jethro and Ellie Mae, which were my 2 Saanen cross Nubian or Saanen Nubian Alpine crosses, the wither and the female, and washed my hands of goats. Now my wife wants goats again. After a few weeks ago going through the birthing process at my buddy's farm for goats, it's called kidding, and I'm not kidding about it. It's pretty dramatic because I get emotionally invested in the little critters. Excuse me. And he left on Friday morning. We went out there Friday evening to feed all the goats and the donkeys and the livestock guardian dogs and the chickens and the ducks and the cat. And there was one extra goat. She was baby. She was cute. The first female ever born on this farm, which was awesome. We named her Dina because she was born on Dean's birthday. So that was great. I was like, this is awesome. Kidding goats is great. Don't have to do anything. They just come out and they run around. No big deal. Saturday night, we went back, and he had separated all the pregnant does that he thought might go into labor while he was gone into the into a grow out pen to separate them from the other goats. We get in there, and I was like, well, another goat named Luna, and she was looking like she was ready. She was heaving and breathing hard, and I'm like, well, we can't leave now. This girl's gonna have babies. And she tried. She tried hard. Ended up both being a stillborn. And I'm back to my original assessment of I don't want goats. It was pretty gut-wrenching. Not gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, because you want to see these young animals survive, whether you're going to eat them or you're going to sell them or any of that. You still want to see them survive. And you can see the heartbreak, even in the female, in the doe that was giving birth. She knew from the get-go that these babies were not going to survive. But raising livestock's the way it is. I don't like it, but that's the way it happens. So the goats. Dean can tell you a whole lot more. I'm sure Mr. Dean, aka Bull Howell, will be joining us on this show sooner or later. We've already discussed it. He's got a plethora of goat knowledge. He also tans all my hides and makes all my leather products from the knives that I make. And he repairs my saddles and makes my aprons for foraging and my arm protection and everything else I need. So I am positive that he will be coming on the show to show us some of the things that we need to know or would like to know on how to do in our backyard. Hey, Todd, I see you. Thanks. We're going to try to cover all aspects. I mean, I'm going to try to get into what vehicle do you need for a prepping vehicle. I've got ideas. I know what my perfect one is. I mean, if I could find me an old 1970s Suburban with a points ignition, manual fuel pump, 4x4, I would be in heaven. That thing would be the greatest prepping vehicle on the planet. You can move your whole family, move all your supplies, tow anything you want to, and pretty much go anywhere with a little bit of work. And if you needed shelter, you could sleep in it, of course. So that's a topic for another day. But remind you, I said 1970s Suburban. We're going to try. Let's try really hard to stay out of the realm of firearms on this show. Though it is a prepping aspect, this is for backyard. You still need some, but we cover that on a whole nother show. So now we will definitely get into food storage. I am horrible about it. I love to use my vacuum sealer and throw everything in a freezer. To me, it's fresh. But I also know it is not the best way to keep your fresh grown vegetables and even some of your meats for the long term, especially when there's no power. So I'm going to get somebody in here to teach me and everybody else the proper method for canning vegetables, canning meats, maybe pickling some fish. I mean, it is a Scandinavian thing. We might do some pickled herring. Probably not herring, but we might go with trout or something along the lines. Salt curing and a few other things. It is stuff I'm interested in, and I'm pretty sure that most of us, if we're watching this show or participating in this show, are interested in figuring out how to actually keep what we grow, maybe make a little money off what we grow and some of the things we do, because, barter system's great. Cash is king. Gold is even better. But if we can use what we're growing to kind of support our own habit for growing stuff and, having livestock, we probably should do it. And that way it's all self-sustaining. But we will be getting into some solar power. I don't plan on hooking conventional power to anything that we're going to be doing on this show. Everything will be either solar or wind or water powered, maybe. I don't know. If I had a stream, that'd be yes. But I am kind of making my own streams, so maybe we can get something going where we can at least try hydroelectric. We'll be running some hot fences. We're going to show some different possibilities of what can go wrong and what can go right with hot fences. Just trust me, it is not. It is a very illuminating experience when you touch the wrong wire, or forget to turn off the system when you go to do something, and don't pee on the electric fence. So my hot fences are not to keep the animals in; they're to keep the wonderful Dutch shepherds we have out, because prey drive. You want to protect some of your animals the best you can, and Dutch shepherds are pretty driven animals, and you're probably going to lose a chicken or two before you can teach them not to try to eat your chickens. He's making noise. I'm sorry. I'm laughing about it. Take a break real quick, and I will get back to you. This one. And we're back. Thanks for staying patient. I got my buddy in the room with me, and he was throwing a conniption fit because Mama just got home. And that's what he likes. He likes it when his mama comes home. So let me give you a rundown of the stuff that we have on hand right now to start building. Obviously, no companies have sponsored the show. I've purchased all the stuff out of my own pocket. So if you guys want to see something else, let me know, and we will try to get some way to make it so that we can provide the information on the stuff you want to see. But as of right now, I have an aluminum greenhouse that has rain catchment possibilities in it already. It comes with it. I'm trying to pull it up real quick. I bought it from AFES because, as you all know, I'm retired Army and I can get things from AFES still. And the price was right. So I have, it is called the Paul Ram Nature Hybrid 6 foot by 10 foot silver greenhouse. Let's see if I can get this to come up in a way that's not showing the address here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you real quick so you can see this. I don't need audio. Don't see the entire screen. Yes, entire screen. So this is what our greenhouse is going to look like. And if you look down in this area and underneath this, that is where I'm going to put the 2 foot by 4 foot by 3 to 4 foot deep ponds on each side. That way when I put the shelf in right here, it sits over the top and I'm not losing any space. And wow, that's kind of funky. But anyway, I need to get a second screen going on here. But you can see what the price of it was. It's not the cheapest. It's not the most expensive. And that was through AFES. So if you're, able to shop on Base or Post or Naval Exchange, it's a pretty decent one. It's a good size for starting. And we'll figure out how easy it is to put together eventually. But that's the greenhouse we got going. And then we have we have pond liners that you just get at Lowe's. And I was gonna get water tanks, like water troughs, livestock water troughs that are 100 gallons, 150 gallons a piece. But I find that I can get a 200-gallon pond dug with a pond liner for $42.88 from Lowe's. And if you're military, you get a 10% discount off that. So it's like $36, $37 all total. Unfortunately, it means you got to dig a hole and line it and put rocks on and all this and that and the other thing. But we had to do that anyway to put this sub-base or substrate and flooring in for the greenhouse. It's like I told you, my backyard floods and I don't need my greenhouse flooding. I don't need any more water getting added to the system than it can handle. So I'm going to have to build up about 6 to 8 inches of sand and gravel, and maybe some concrete pads, maybe something else. I don't know yet. Inside the floor of the greenhouse around the ponds, which makes that, the pond 6 to 8 inches, maybe 9 inches higher than the ground that I already have in the space I want to do this in. It also makes it level, and also makes it so if the water system overflows, it's not washing everything out too. So those are the things that we're going to be tackling hopefully in the next week, is at least getting the holes dug, or at least one hole dug. See how I like it? Put in a pond liner, get the substrate put in, get in the flooring, and build the greenhouse. Hopefully I can get both holes dug. But like I said, it's red Georgia clay. It might take me a month to dig one hole, but I do have a gas-powered auger to drill the holes, dig it out with a shovel, be rocking and rolling. Then build the greenhouse, then put in the shelves, and then dig the next hole for the water catchment system coming off the house, which is going to feed the water into the greenhouse. And then we can start getting our aquaponic system built, which I'm not using soil or even the clay balls in the aquaponic system. I'm going to use lava rocks. They're lightweight, they're cheap, they're not clay balls, they're not bad for the entire environment, but the theory is the holes in the lava rocks catch the nutrients from the fish poop, build in nitrogen, the plants get the nitrogen, and so on and so forth, and it's lightweight. So that is the battle plan for that. But I'm going to put a few solar panels on the greenhouse itself. All water pumps will be driven off solar. The fan will be ran by solar, because this is Georgia. It gets too hot, you'll cook your plants. It gets too cold, you'll freeze your plants. So grow lights are coming off, running off solar. That way we can maintain temperature and light at times when we need to, like wintertime. Any type of heating will be ran off solar. But like I said, the main point is not having this hooked up to any grid network, and playing around with solar sounds fun. And then we have our rain catchment systems that we got to put in everywhere. And then I still got trees to plant. So right now, the plan is 2 of each fruiting tree that will grow in Georgia. Apples, maybe oranges. I don't know yet. I have to research that one more. But apples, pears, figs, peaches, lemon trees, lime trees, because my wife makes this stuff called lemon butter, which is absolutely amazing, and probably the greatest stuff on the planet. So for us to produce that to sell it, we'd like to have some lemons, because lemons are, they're lemons. Why wouldn't you want lemons? But we have one pear tree at our hunting property, and it has thousands of pears on it every year. So hopefully we'll be able to replicate that in our own backyard, maybe even better, because this will actually get pruned. It won't be wild. I don't really want any nut trees, because I don't want squirrels in my backyard. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a fan of having rodents in my backyard. Mice, rats, any of it. I don't like them in the backyard. And then when you start having livestock, you start having problems with like weasels and snakes and all the other stuff. And the more rodents you have, the more likely you are to have those wonderful tiny little critter problems. So, not saying snakes are bad. I'm just saying I don't like rattlesnakes. And there's 3 different types here in Georgia. I don't want to deal with any of them. And there's copperheads and water moccasins, and I like my dogs and I like my animals, so I try not to invite them in. But if there's a particular product that you would like to see used on the show, to figure out if it's something you would like to use, let us know so that we can so we can try to acquire that product to show it on the show to let you know if it's going to work for you. And to keep in mind, we are in, middle of Georgia, like literally the middle of Georgia is where this is. It could be the hottest place on earth. It could be cold. It's pretty much never dry. So we do have that going for us. But doesn't mean what works here is going to work where you are. We are trying to build an all-around setup. That's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and do the thermostat controlled fan and automatic opening vents on the greenhouse. It's going to take some engineering. It's going to take a little bit of, tinkering to get them to work properly. But it'll all be thermostat controlled where it turns on the heat lamps or the grow lamps by itself. It manages and regulates everything, and no computers involved. It's going to be run off little manual thermostats. That way it gets a certain temperature, it turns on this thing or turns off that thing, it opens the vents or closes the vents, it turns on the fan, turns off the fan, all off manual thermostats. That's the plan. I've got it all brought up once. I've got a nice little list of things that I want to do to this greenhouse to make it pretty much 50 state. Obviously, Alaska has its own problems, but we can figure it out. Now, have you had any snake problems with my chickens? I haven't, because I haven't had the chickens in the backyard yet. Dean, on the other hand, his guardian dogs kill everything that enter the yard. That isn't a goat, chicken, guinea hen, chicken or duck, turkey, that kind of stuff. And I know his guardian dogs have killed plenty of snakes. I don't think he's actually gotten any rattlesnakes on his property yet. He also has barn cats that go through and kill all the mice. One named Bear, probably the coolest cat on the planet. But he also has a bigger problem on his property, and it's called bobcats. He just recently lost 2 or 3 chickens and a couple ducks and his goose to a bobcat. And the night the first baby goat was born, I sat out there all night with a thermal and waited. And I shot at it 4 times. I must have hit it because I found it. We found blood and hair, and it ain't been back. So these are the problems you're going to have when you're starting to do this backyard micro farming, livestock raising. You're going to find out there's animals out there that want to eat your animals. So always got to be prepared for that stuff. And yes, guinea hens are great to have if you have enough land where you don't want to go outside and choke them every single day. They're loud. They will definitely let you know when something's in your yard that they have never seen before, or they have seen before, they just don't understand, or just because they want to make a ton of noise. That's a guinea hen. But they also eat ticks and fleas, just like chickens. So if you don't want to, have eggs and you like having really annoying, very fast, flashy birds running around your yard, screaming at you all day long, guinea hens might be for you. I'm not going to have guinea hens. It's like having a miniature peacock that wants to rip your ears out. Not a fan of guinea hens. Not a fan at all. But they do work. It's like tying 2 male possums together by their tails and waiting for somebody to step on them. They just scream all the time. So this is going to be pretty much the conclusion of the first ever Backyard Prepiversity. So episode 1 of season 1, because we're going to keep doing this until every person knows how to grow their own food and livestock and what to do with it. So I feel like we're going to be doing this for a long time. I really appreciate everybody that tuned in. Really appreciate everything everybody does. And remember, It's your land. It's your survival. Do not waste it by putting in a swimming pool. No, I'm just playing. Put in a swimming pool. That'd be fun. Great for water. Just don't add chlorine. But your land, your survival. Use it how you need to. Grow your vegetables. Grow your food. Don't rely on the government to make sure you can have it. It's fresher. It won't mess up your stomach. And y'all have a good night. And we'll see you next week.